I get excited about them all, but this one's extra special. Lots of very cool details on this roof. We're putting a TPO roof on this, a 60 mil mule hide, one of the best in the business. We've got some cool skylights, coping, really cool stuff that I want to show you. This one's just one that's really built for the camera. All right, Chicago, welcome back to another edition of our YouTube channel. I'm Jim from Anchor Point Roofing. Today we're in beautiful Lincoln Park in the city of Chicago. This one I'm really excited about it. I get excited about them all, but this one's extra special. Lots of very cool details on this roof. We're putting a TPO roof on this, a 60 mil mule hide, one of the best in the business. We've got some cool skylights, coping, really cool stuff that I want to show you. This one's just one that's really built for the camera. We've got the guys up there right now working, putting it together like a beautiful puzzle, and I'd like to take you up and give you a tour of it, thinking maybe we could do one video here of it like midway, and then I'd love to show you the finished product. You're gonna love it on the next video when we show you the finished product and how beautiful it turned out. So let's go up and take a look. I'm excited about this one. Let's get going. Hey Miguel. Good, how's it going here? We're gonna do a little filming today. Thanks, Miguel. All right, Chicago, so here we are up on the roof. The neighbors are nice enough to let us use theirs a little bit. Small working quarters. It always is in the city. A little tricky and sticky. The roof that we're replacing started out like this. This is what's called a granulated modified bitumen. It's not a bad product. We install it all the time, but this homeowner is really upgrading to a TPO. The roof needed to be replaced anyway. Again, like I was saying on the ground, I'm really excited about this one. It's a cool project. So let's take a look. Let's walk over and take a look at the roof. I'll show you what we're putting on and what we're doing over here. So here you can see we've got the insulation down. We were able to get the full 5.2 inches on. We've got two layers, so each one of these is this is 2.6 inches, this is 2.6 inches. When you combine them, you've got approximately 5.2 inches. And this gives you the R-30 that code wants. On some projects, you can't always get this much on. As you can imagine, having that much added to your roof sometimes can cause issues or problems. So the idea and the code always says, get as much as you can on there. Well, in this case, we were able to get the full 5.2, which adds an R-30. It's gonna be way cooler in the summer, way warmer in the winter. And we've also heard a lot of people say that it just makes it more quiet. Very cool. Here's the membrane we're installing. We love Mule Hide. We're certified with Mule Hide to provide NDL warranties. Since this is a single family, you can't actually get an NDL warranty, but it's called a no dollar limit. But if you could take a look at this, it's really cool. This is actually a 60 mil. A lot of roofs we see 45 mil, which just isn't quite as thick. Such a hardy product. And one thing the city and the environmentalists love is the white reflectivity. So when this is on your roof, you can imagine it's reflecting the light, reflecting the heat, and keeping things warmer, and just really good for the environment on a long-term basis. You can see the guys back here, what they're doing. You can see we've typically got work boots on, steel toe. Now we've switched over to tennis shoes. Some of them even have booties on. We love to keep the clean roof, the TPO, as clean as possible, just out of a pride thing. We want it to look beautiful. There's definitely going to be footprints and things on it, and the homeowners are only going to probably be up here to see it at the end, but we love to keep it clean, and you can see how neat everyone's got brand new shoes on, so I think that's pretty cool. Again, this is a full 5.2 inches. What we've got to use to get that attached, I think these are 7-inch screws, so really long. The manufacturers want the screw to penetrate at least 1 inch through the 3/4 inch substrate or the plywood. Some of these screws are all the way through. That's a big boy screw, I'll tell you. So there's a couple different ways to install the TPO. One is mechanically directly attached. People use a process called Rhino Bond, which is great. You know, we're not opposed to that, but anytime we can, we like to glue it down with adhesive. It makes everything nice and flat, gives a really long-term performance. You can see Eric's over there, he was spraying it, and now afterwards, they take the roller and they roll it out so that it adheres every little section. They want every spot to stick, so it's all fully adhered. And you can see the wands, and you can see these guys over here, Jesus and Chris, are also rolling it out. They're really picky about how it goes on and how it's adhered. It's a really, really cool process. So they've glued the whole thing. Now Jesus is rolling it out. Chris is over there rolling it out. I love the booties that Jose has on. Awesome. Me gusta. So it's a cool process seeing it all together. We always start by where the scupper and the gutter is, and then you work your way back on both sides. That way you don't have any laps that water are hitting, if you could imagine that. You put it on at the lowest spot, then you put the next one on and the next one, similar to how you would do a shingle roof, so that when water is running off and all going to that point over there, the water's never hitting a lap. It's rolling over those laps. Pretty basic roofing 101, but just something I wanted to point out. And you can see the time and the care that the guys are taking on it. Really cool TPO process. All right, here's one of the things we do. We see it lacking on a lot of roofs. A lot of contractors just don't put it in. It's called a cricket. We have a few videos about that, but you can see we call it on the high side of the skylights. We always build crickets to shed water. It's a little more elevated back here. You can imagine water coming on a heavy rain day. This is gonna help shed it to each side. This skylight is so cool. It's a curb mounted skylight. We had to extend these curbs up because we were putting so much polyiso on with it being that thick. If you could take a look at this real quick and see how massive this thing is. The guy said it took about 2 hours for them just to get this onto the roof yesterday, and you can imagine the cost and not wanting to break it or scratch it. The guys put this back on it so there's no scratches. We don't want any overspray from the glue getting on it, obviously, and we want to keep it clean and pristine. That's one of the things that we do here. Like, that's why we're wearing booties. That's why we're protecting this. You can see our work environment is pretty clean as it can be and organized. Here's one more in this area. We see this lacking all the time, and it's pretty simple to do, but just another cricket. So you can imagine water coming down here. This is going to take it and it's going to angle it and shoot it back out so it can head towards the gutter and where it needs to drain out. Pretty simple to do, but I would say 80% of the roofs we go on in Chicago are lacking the proper cricket. So that's something we're really big on, and it's something that's left out of scopes for other contractors, but we always put it on there. We always do crickets, and I think that makes us a little more pricey sometimes. This skylight is another huge, amazing beauty. This one wasn't quite as hard to get up, but it's like 60 by 60, and it's just massive. It's got a little bit of a pitch so that runs off. A lot of times we'll do commercial bubble style, the bigger ones. The homeowner wanted this, which I think is an awesome choice. They look beautiful, they shed water, and it's just awesome Velux product. So just wanted to show you that a little bit. Another really cool aspect of this, the old hatch was rusted through, it was leaking. It was back over here in this area. We kept the location, obviously, but this was a special order. This is from Bilco. Awesome, awesome thing. It's energy efficient and just a really cool hatch that's going to be installed. It's got this weather stripping so it doesn't leak. It's nice and insulated on the side, so it's going to provide some R value and just a beautiful piece that's going to go on. I can kind of show you here. It's going to be attached right over here. What we do is we take the TPO after we build the curbs. Again, we've built these curbs up quite a bit. Take the TPO, we wrap it all the way over to this inside. Then we set the hatch on. That way this thing is waterproofed all the way. Even though the hatch is completely waterproof itself, you just want to see this wrapped over. And I always like too, these guys don't do anything sloppy. The framing is neat. The homeowner was up here this morning. He actually came through the hatch and he sent me a text. He's like, you guys are doing amazing. He's impressed with the cleanliness and how neat things look. So that definitely differentiates us. Here's another cool change that my guys brought up. I wish I could say that this was my idea, but it wasn't. You can see we've got the masonry parapet wall, and it came all the way over here. So that parapet wall is gonna be rebuilt, but it came all the way over here, and right here we had a scupper. So it was an old scupper. It was like a part scupper, part gutter, part hacked together something. So originally, when we signed the contract and talked through this, it was actually last year, we were gonna just rebuild the scupper and make it nice and beautiful. Well, as the guys got up here and started demoing and looking it over, they had the great idea to just remove this. We'll show you some pictures of it here, and install a gutter rather than the scupper. The homeowner picked out a nice black matte finish Kynar gutter. It's gonna look so sharp, and then it's gonna run from there. So you can imagine, rather than the water coming over here and all trying to get funneled to here, now all the water runoff in this roof is gonna go into a nice gutter. It's gonna help prolong the life of the roof. There was a little bit of ponding here before, just very little, but now we're not gonna have any. It's all gonna run off, and we're gonna have nice watershed. Plus it's gonna look like $1 million. All right, and here's the third beautiful skylight we're putting in. We replaced all 3 skylights. They were the old dome, but we did all this framing, all this plywood. Now when you look from underneath, all you can see is a beautiful, beautiful skylight. And again, we've pitched this so it's got nice runoff. It's a beautiful project altogether. I just love it. I'm real happy about it. I'm glad we could film and make a YouTube video about this one. All right, so one more thing I want to point out on this roof. You can tell I'm really nerding out on it. I love this project. They had these old clay copings here. I imagine these are probably 130 years old at this point. Not in great shape. Aesthetically, you don't really see them, but what we're gonna do is we're taking all these off, we're removing these, and we're gonna put a wood ledger on here. Some of these need to be re-tuck pointed. This wall we're tuck pointing, and then a couple other on the north side we're actually having to rebuild. That's one of the surprises that you can never anticipate. The exterior had been tuck pointed, but the interior walls really needed work. Anyway, I digress. What we're gonna do here, put a wood ledger, so probably a 2x8 or 2x10 is gonna be fastened to here, and then we're gonna get Kynar metal, which has a nice coating on it. And again, the matte black is gonna go down, and this is gonna be beautiful along here with a brand new coping. Leak free, it's got locking cleats that lock together so water can't get in between the seams. And when we come back on video number 2 and show you this, you're gonna see how beautiful it all looks when it comes together. It's just another little thing we wanted to do rather than putting back the old clay copings. I love the 100-year-old stuff, but sometimes it's time to upgrade to new modern materials that are gonna perform better and last a lot longer. Not that these 100-year-old ones didn't last, but I think the new one's gonna be just beautiful. All right, Chicago, that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in with our TPO project in Lincoln Park. So I've said the word beautiful like 8 times. I think it's turning out so well. I want you to make sure and tune back in a couple weeks where we show the finished product, the black metal coping, the nice gutter that's going in, and this finished TPO project is gonna blow your socks off. Whether you're a homeowner looking for a roof repair in Chicago or a contractor looking for the best materials, Anchor Point Roofing is where it's at. Please stay tuned for the next edition, and we'll see you on the next one.